The court actually adjourned early today, and there are 45 prospective jurors. Now, what happens is the next step is that each side gets a certain number where they can just say, we don't want him. And you don't have to give a reason. You just, we don't want him. Each side gets to sort of knock people down for that. That's a really important thing because it requires strategy. Who do you want? What 12 jurors and 6 alternates do you want? But the defense said, look, we need some time. And the judge said, look, we will be dark tomorrow. We won't have
So Thursday,
court
there will
tomorrow.
be nothing going on in court.
On Friday, they're called preemptory challenges. On Friday, they will do that. They will select the jury. And then on Monday, the jury will be officially sworn in and the opening statements will begin.
So basically what they're saying is that they have selected 45 jurors that tomorrow they're going to go through a second round. So they've gone through and they've checked out all of these different jurors. The prosecution gets to eliminate some. The defense gets to eliminate some. Jury selection is crazy. It's a crazy situation. It's super boring because you're asking everybody the same questions over and over again. And they were set to do like 50 jurors a day. They had a huge jury pool. Now, one thing I want to point out is they caught one of the jurors that they believe 100% was capping out the wazoo, trying to get selected by lying because they knew exactly what was going on, but they were trying to be on the jury, the jury for the Diddy trial. And when they started calling the person out on it, he threw his hand in the air and just yelled, "Diddy, do it!" Which I think is hilarious. I think that's absolutely hilarious. But now they've got it down to where they've got 45 jurors out of a much larger jury pool. They took today off. Tomorrow, they're going to go back through, and both the defense and the prosecution will get to ask them a secondary set of questions and do their final narrowing down to, I don't know whether they're going to do 14 or 15, but they're going to do their jury of 12, and then they're going to pick alternate jurors in case some of them get bumped out for one reason or another. You always have backup jurors. So that's what they're going to be doing tomorrow.
Okay,
I'm buying
you're
it.
excused, or I'm not buying
it.
it. Some very interesting ones, including Star Wars. Star Wars came into play in the court today as one juror said he was just at home. He said he's not working and he's at home watching Star Wars. Actually, he said he's binging, and the judge said, "Binging? What do you mean? What do you mean you're binging?" He said, "Oh, I'm just binging. I'm watching Star Wars." And the judge said, "Okay, you're watching Star Wars. What? I think the judge thought he meant the movie, and he said, "No, Andor." And then he admitted, he's like, "I'm not working right now. I'm really kind of lazy." I don't know if the judge, that doesn't sound like a good excuse. Do we know if the judge took that one? He kept him in. Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, I don't think I'm binge watching a show on Disney Plus is an excuse that's worthy to get off of jury duty. I have heard some cool excuses to get off of jury duty. Now, I'm going to say this. When I was in Oregon State Prison, and the state of Oregon had me in prison for over 2 years at the time, I called my mom one day and from the collect phone on the yard, and she's like, "You just got a summons for jury duty." And I'm like, "Yeah, just ignore that. I'm not going to be able to make it." And she was like, "No, you know what? This actually pisses me off. They're going to try to summon you to jury duty while they've got you locked in prison. I'm going to call them." And my mom called the district attorney's office and started hollering at them, "You have my son locked up in prison. How dare you send him a jury summons?" Just long story short, I did not have to do jury duty. I didn't have to go.
I mean, you're asking to be put on the jury at that point.
I'm kind of lazy. I
don't have a job, so it's not like
I'll do a 4-week trial, but I don't think I can do an 8. It just gets boring.
Yeah, I mean, he was honest at least. There was another prospective juror who admitted, it came up, and clearly the attorneys the defense had seen this on his social media. that he had retweeted something related to Diddy. So the judge asked him about it. He said, do you remember doing this? And he said, no. And he said, no, I don't, because I was doom scrolling. What's doom scrolling? And he said, I was just jumping around on the internet. So the judge is learning some things here about social media.
Well, the judge also, I think this is actually really interesting. So this judge, I was a little surprised at this. I have a feeling he's connecting more with the young people in the jury. This is the judge.
Stop it. Get out. That's the judge. That's the judge, bro. With a backpack and an orange jacket, and he's rocking some Dre beats, and he doesn't know what doom scrolling or binging is. I was picturing like some old dude with white hair. You're telling me this judge, this dude, don't got no lingo, bro. You know, that's crazy, bro.
Backpack,
Judge Sumerian.
earphones, headphones, and
I'd only seen pictures of
tennis
him.
shoes.
I'd only seen pictures of him on the bench with his robe on, and he just, I don't know, just seemed older.
But now that you look, it's like he's 45 years old, and the reality is there are a lot of judges who are in their 40s who are on the federal
bench. He just
bench.
looks like any other commuter.
He does. I mean, tennis shoes and backpacks and all.
Headset on.
This guy's a regular commuter who grew up in the 90s. He's exactly my age. He's probably very influenced by the music of the 90s, which was suffused with Puff Daddy and Bad Boy Records. So undoubtedly, he knows a lot about the defendant in this case, and he's going to bring in some of his own sort of experiences to the trial. I mean, I'm sure he'll be very professional, but that's got to be in the back of his mind. He knows Puff Daddy.
Now, I'm going to get a little personal here, that I have a podcast, and one of the things that happened in court is we now have a new listener. That judge.
Yes. Judge Subramanian said that he will be watching and listening to the Two Angry Men podcast.
But not just.
So this judge watches podcasts, but he doesn't know what doom scrolling or binging is. That seems sketchy. I think Blaze might have been right. He might have been testing this dude.
Not necessarily because he's a fan.
No, he's watching and listening because of something that your co-host, Mark Garagos, said on the last week's episode
of Two Angry Men,
where he referred to the prosecutors, the 6 female prosecutors, as a 6-pack of white women.
That did not sit well. But the prosecution actually sent a letter to the judge and fired it off and said,
I think a 6-pack of white women was something that you could order on Epstein Island, by the way. That was a bad joke. I shouldn't have said that with my mouth. Somebody said, Enlo said, Doom Scroll sounds like something from Skyrim or something. Absolutely. Absolutely. Sergeant Doom Scroll.
Garagos is associated with this case. He's been consulting. And how dare he say something like this? And the judge agreed.
Yeah, the judge said, you cannot cross the line like this. And that's when he said, I will be watching. I believe Mark said something like, thanks as long as you subscribe.
The word was kind of wrong, Mark.
Right.
But the judge was essentially, the judge was threatening him with contempt. That if he made a personal comment like that, which the judge said crossed the line, I think the judge was saying prosecution will probably ask for make a contempt motion.
Now, see, here's the thing is that Mark Garagos is actually advising Diddy and Diddy's defense team. He's one of the advisors on the sidelines. So he also has a podcast with this dude from TNZ. So I think that they have a pretty good gauge on the information that they're getting on this, because they have an inside track here, which is part of what lends to their credibility in this particular case, in my opinion. I often disagree with the information that they present, and I think that they present it in a way, maybe even it's not just the information, but I think that they present things in a way that's disingenuous and like they're trying to run a narrative. But they have a really good inside track here with Mark Garagos, and so I do believe that a lot of their information on this is highly relevant.
The judge might agree to actually cite Mark.
Just to be clear, the judge was not promoting your podcast.
Well, at least
not
intentionally.
Not intentionally. But
Yeah, look, there's an element of this that is very entertaining. It is your podcast, and you speak openly about this case, and so does Mark Garagos. But being called to the principal's office in the middle of a trial and being told, like, I'm going to be listening, it's not exactly an endorsement of the podcast. It's going to make Mark probably a little nervous to be
Well,
talking
that's
on
what
the
I want to
podcast.
see. We haven't done
Now
it this
I'm-
week yet. I can't wait to hear what he does this week. Believe me, I have
I feel like
no idea, no control over that.
I feel like there's going to be a lot of you talking this
No,
this week.
Let me tell you something. I've known this guy for decades.
He's going to push it.
It ain't going to be just me talking.
He's gonna
I
push it.
promise you.
Hi, Nikki NYC. In my personal opinion, I think when it comes down to the all-female prosecution team, I think it's a plus and a negative at the same time. For one, when it comes down to feminism, I feel like if they can successfully prosecute and win this case, it's going to be a plus for them. However, with the predominantly jury that's like all male, predominantly male, I think it's going to actually backfire with the intentions of men nowadays. And this is just my opinion, where men are just like, okay, we want to be the head of households. You want to be the decision makers. I feel like if there's a predominantly male jury pool, it's going to make it a little bit difficult for them to actually prosecute. This is just my opinion.
I think she missed the plot with that. I do believe that she's correct. I think that with an all-male jury or a predominantly male jury, because the majority of the people from the 45 that they're going to be picking from are men. So we don't know if there's going to be women on the jury or not, but we do know that it's more than likely to be a predominantly male jury. Now, I think having a six-pack of white women as the prosecution, I think that will hurt the prosecution's case with a jury of predominantly white men. But it's not because men want women in the kitchen, like she's saying, like, you know, down with the patriarchy. That's not what it is, homie. It's that I think that men are very aware that there is, and more aware than women, that there is a lot of people out there, a lot of women out there who will throw a fake case at a dude to get money or to get revenge. Like, it's not unheard of. We know that it happens. We know that a lot of the people who came forward with lawsuits against Diddy, there was so many of them, an overwhelming amount of them. And a lot of them were women just trying to get that bag, bro. And I think men are going to be more conscious of that. So, you know, I think they're going to be less inclined to hear what these female prosecutors are saying when it's an all female prosecution. And I don't think it has anything to do with wanting women in the kitchen.
They can't find witness number 3 still. This
Yes.
is apparently an
This is the part.
ex-girlfriend of Diddy's who was one of the alleged victims.
And who is-
Prosecution can't find her.
Right. Her attorney is trying to find her, and her attorney has said that she may not be willing to come and testify anyway. So we'll
Be
see.
interesting. Okay, we're moving on.
Here, let me run down the timeline of this with this victim number 3. Witness number 3 is the proper terminology on this. Witness number 3, the day before they started trial, Sunday, the prosecutor talked to them and they affirmed, yes, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to testify. And once I testify, I don't care about being anonymous anymore. I just don't want anybody to know who I am until after I get it out, because I want to be safe until then. So that was Sunday. Monday, they disappeared. They have not been able to contact them. It is Thursday. I checked, and as of like an hour and a half ago, they still have not been able to contact the witness or the witness's attorney, which is wild work, bro. It's wild work. Now, Diddy, as you guys know, throughout this, even while he was in jail, Diddy got in trouble for trying to obstruct justice, trying to intimidate witnesses, having people, he would contact people. He got caught contacting people through a cell phone in prison. You know what you're not allowed to have while you're locked up, homie? You're not allowed to have a cell phone. You're not allowed to have one of these. They caught him with somebody else's cell phone, and he was talking to people in there and having people go and approach witnesses or people they thought would be witnesses to either pay them off or intimidate them. So that's why he has coercion and obstruction of justice charges, because this is his pattern, is eliminate the witnesses, intimidate the witnesses, pay off the witnesses, throw money at it, make it go away. If the money doesn't work, throw thugs at it, make it go away. That's why he's largely been associated and alleged to be the one who was behind the death of not only Tupac, but Biggie, too. As long as I can remember, everybody was like, yo, as soon as they died, everybody was like, Diddy did it. Diddy did it. And he's never gotten it. No one's ever gotten no justice for that shit, bro. Now, they got somebody locked up right now on that Tupac shit. And that dude says, I was doing it because Diddy offered $1 million for the death of Tupac. And we ain't seen no case on Diddy for that shit yet. But this is Diddy's pattern, man. Diddy will intimidate witnesses. Diddy will obstruct justice. And now, right before they go to trial, the day they start the trial, one of these witnesses disappears, just off the map, off the face of the planet. And the damn lawyer, they can't get a hold of the damn lawyer either, which is weird. That's extra weird because you don't have to get rid of the lawyer. So why can't they reach the lawyer? The prosecution just can't reach the witness or her attorney all of a sudden? That's nuts, bro.